Welcome back to Kringle's Christmas Stories, brought to you by KringlesChristmas.com, home of Comet's Choice, premium reindeer, food, reindeer tested, Santa approved. Have you ever wondered what Santa's reindeer do when they aren't delivering presents on Christmas Eve?
Good question.
Well, today we're going behind the scenes for a sneak peek into their daily lives.
Mm.
We've got a special story for you today. It's called A Day in the Life of Santa's Reindeer, the Great Sleigh Rescue. And we're going to be focusing specifically on Chapter 1, Morning at the North Pole.
Sounds fun.
So settle in, get cozy, and let's dive in. The North Pole was alive with the soft hum of Christmas magic. Snow stretched endlessly in every direction, glittering like a field of diamonds under the pale northern light.
I can just picture it.
Above it all, the aurora borealis shimmered its ribbons of color, casting a warm, otherworldly glow over Santa's sprawling village. Nestled near the edge of the great workshop stood the reindeer barn, a magnificent structure carved from enchanted ice and trimmed with cedarwood beams. Inside the barn hummed with quiet energy. Reindeer shifted in their stalls, their hooves tapping rhythmically against the wooden floors. A faint hint of peppermint mingled with the earthy scent of hay as elves scurried about preparing for another busy day. "Rise and shine, team!" bellowed Jolly Jingle, the head reindeer handler. His voice was as chipper as the bells strung across his bright green vest. He clapped his hands, sending a light mist of glitter into the air. "Big day ahead. Let's get those hooves moving."
I love Jolly Jingle.
Me too. Blitzen was the first to step out of his stall, his antlers polished to perfection and his chest puffed out with pride. "Another day to show the world why we're the best," he said, confidently glancing at the other reindeer. Dasher snorted playfully. "You've got competition, Blitz. Some of us don't need speeches to shine." Prancer trotted forward, her tail flicking. "Maybe we'll let you have second best, Dasher," she teased. The reindeer bantered as they lined up for their morning stretches, guided by the ever-attentive elves. Pepper Sparkle, a petite handler with a bright red cap, approached Rudolph, who was still blinking sleepily in his stall. "Come on, sleepy nose," she said, her voice gentle. "The world needs your glow." Rudolph yawned, his nose flashing dimly at first before it warmed into a steady soft light. "Okay, I'm up," he muttered, stepping into line with the others. The morning routine began with agility drills. Candy cane hurdles were set up along the snowy training ground, and one by one the reindeer galloped through the course.
Oh, I never pictured that.
Dasher and Comet were the fastest, leaping over the hurdles with precision, their hooves barely skimming the tops. Vixen and Cupid followed their movements, fluid and graceful. Even Rudolph, often teased for being a bit clumsy on the ground, completed the course with steady determination. "Not bad, Rudy," said Dasher with a grin as they trotted back to the barn. "You might just keep up with us in the sky this year." "Sky is my element," Rudolph replied, his nose glowing a touch brighter. Back in the barn, the highlight of the morning awaited them. Comet's choice reindeer food. Jolly Jingle wheeled out a silver trough, brimming with the glimmering mixture. The aroma of oats, peppermint, and something faintly magical filled the air, and the reindeer perked up immediately. "Here we go, team," Jolly said, sprinkling handfuls of the food into smaller bowls. "This isn't just breakfast, it's the fuel that powers Christmas. And the magic that helps us find every child on Christmas Eve," added Blitzen, stepping forward to take the first bite. "Don't forget that part." Comet's choice wasn't just food. It was part of the magic of Christmas created by the belief of children all over the world. On Christmas Eve, millions of kids sprinkled the special mix on their lawns and rooftops. The flakes glowed faintly, like tiny stars, creating a constellation of beacons that guided Santa's sleigh through even the darkest, stormiest skies. As the reindeer nibbled at their bowls, the barn fell quiet, each of them taking a moment to reflect on their role in the season's magic. "It's amazing when you think about it," Prancer said softly. "Every light, every sprinkle is a child believing in us." Blitzen nodded. "And we make sure their belief is rewarded every year." "All right, team," Jolly called, breaking the moment. "Santa's briefing is in 10 minutes. Finish up and get ready for flight prep." The reindeer moved with a renewed sense of purpose. They were more than a team. They were the heart of Christmas, and they had a mission to fulfill.
Wow, what a great story.
I know, right?
It really makes you think about all that goes into Christmas.
It does. And we're just getting started.
Can't wait to hear what happens next.
Me too.
Yeah.
Wow, what a heartwarming glimpse into the reindeer's morning routine. I don't know about you, but I never pictured them doing agility drills.
Yeah, it's fascinating how the story emphasizes their physical preparation. It makes you realize these reindeer are essentially athletes, finely tuned for their high-stakes flight on Christmas Eve.
Absolutely.
Like they're training for a marathon, but instead of a finish line, they have millions of children waiting for them.
Exactly. And speaking of those children, what really struck me was the significance of Comet's choice. It's not just a magical energy source. It's fueled by the belief of children around the world.
Right. You know, that detail really resonated with me too. It highlights how the magic of Christmas is a two-way street. It's not just Santa bringing joy to children, but their belief in him that empowers him and the reindeer to do what they do.
Yeah, exactly. Each sprinkle of Comet's choice represents a child's anticipation and wonder, and that collective belief is what fuels the reindeer's journey.
It's really quite beautiful when you think about it.
It is. Now, thinking about the reindeer's personalities, did any of them stand out to you?
Let me think. Blitzen's confidence certainly caught my attention. Always the first one out of the stall, ready to prove he's the best. It's a reminder that a healthy dose of self-belief can be a powerful motivator.
Yeah, he does sound a bit like the team captain, doesn't he?
Yeah.
Always ready to rally the others. What about you? Did any of the reindeer remind you of someone you know?
You know, Prancer's gentle observation about the children believing in them really resonated with me. It speaks to the responsibility they feel and the deeper meaning they find in their work.
That's a beautiful point. They're not just pulling a sleigh, they're carrying the hopes and dreams of children around the world.
Exactly. And if you think about it, the story focuses on just their morning routine. Imagine all the other preparations happening at the North Pole in the lead up to Christmas Eve. The logistics of toy making, the flight path, planning the coordination with all those elves. It boggles the mind.
It really makes you appreciate the sheer scale of the operation, doesn't it? There's so much more to Christmas than what we see on the surface.
Indeed. And it leaves us with a wonderful thought to ponder. If Santa's reindeer have such a detailed training routine, what other fascinating and meticulous preparations are taking place behind the scenes at the North Pole? It's a magical world full of untold stories just waiting to be discovered.
It really does. Thanks for joining us for this deep dive into the world of Santa's reindeer.
Oh, it's my pleasure.
We hope you enjoyed this peek behind the curtain at the North Pole.
I know I did.
Thanks for dropping by Kringle's Christmas Stories, and have a very Merry Christmas. Remember to get your Comet's Choice reindeer food at cometschoice.com.